Oh wow, now that is spectacular. I'm here with one of the most popular serious beginners telescopes on the market, the Celestron Nexstar 8SE. Someone recently donated this to my astronomy club for us to give away. So while I have access to it, I'm going to put it through its paces to see if it lives up to its reputation. When I first got this telescope, I did an unboxing of it. Make sure you check that out so you can see what it looks like the first time it came out of the package. The Celestron Nexstar lines of telescopes comes with a variety of telescopes, but what it is built around is this single arm go-to alt-azimuth mount. It's very simple and quick to set up, and with what should be a very quick alignment, can offer you go-to views of anything in the sky. We'll start with a quick tour of the telescope. The Nexstar SE line comes with 4 telescope options. There's a 4-inch refractor, and then a 5, a 6, and an 8-inch Schmidt-Cassegrain. This one came with the venerable 8-inch Celestron Schmidt-Cassegrain that has been in production since the 70s. This telescope is outstanding. I'm very familiar with one. My personal telescope I've used for years is one of these, and they are outstanding performers. They're very good all-around telescopes. They come in at a focal ratio of f10, which means that it is a pretty narrow field of view, but it comes in this nice compact package that is relatively lightweight and is a great all-around performer for planets, deep sky objects, whatever you might be looking for. Here at the back of the telescope, you can see that this came with a screw-on 1.25" mirror diagonal, and it came with a 25mm Plossl that should be adequate for this purpose. The focuser is also down here, and the movement is nice and smooth, and the knob is rubberized and large. There's no way you're going to miss it. Just remember, as this telescope comes, it will not accept 2-inch eyepieces, only 1.25", so be careful of that. The tripod for this telescope is these nice solid stainless steel tube legs. They appear to be maybe an inch and a half in diameter or so, and they are very sturdy. The extensions are a little bit narrower, but at first glance, this seems to be like it's a nice stable setup. These stainless steel tube leg designs are usually very stable. One of the distinct features of this telescope is the unique single arm mount and the hand controller that conveniently clips right into the mount. As you can see, it comes out here and allows you to easily navigate the sky. I really like this feature in concept, however, I've been struggling to get it to clip on easily. The telescope comes with one of these plastic, inexpensive red dot finders that you mount right here, and it's very helpful usually in pointing your telescope at things in the sky for the first time. This was not functioning when I took it out of the box. I assumed that meant that the battery was dead, so I replaced it with a new battery, a fresh one, and it still didn't work. So I have never really been impressed with these inexpensive plastic red dot finders. I usually replace them right out of the gate. This one was dead on arrival, direct from Celestron. So something you might want to keep in mind is that this is probably one of the first things that you'll want to get rid of. Celestron provides you with this AC adapter. It came with several different prong configurations for international customers. In most of amateur astronomy, you'll either see old-fashioned cigarette plug adapters or barrel jacks or USB connectors anymore. This is somewhat of an inconvenient connector because people aren't always very close to a traditional mainline plug or receptacle. I'm not really impressed with this. I'd like to see a more practical field power adapter. Go-to accuracy for one of these fork-mounted telescopes is somewhat dependent on having telescope level. It came with one of these nice bubble levels, so I'm going to quickly adjust that, but I'm pretty close as it is. Doesn't need to be perfect. So I went ahead and plugged this into my field battery, and let's go ahead and turn it on for the first time. So I'm not going to go through the menus on this too much. I'm getting ready to do a speed run on this. I haven't read the instructions at all. I have 15 years of working with telescopes, but I've never used a Celestron hand controller or a Celestron of this design, and so I want to do a speed run on it to see how quickly I can get it up and aligned, and to kind of judge what it would be like for a beginner who has no experience with this at all and is looking at it with fresh eyes for the first time. the first thing to notice is it gives you several options for aligning. This one is called Skyline, and I believe this is a proprietary Celestron tool where you don't have to actually know the stars that you're pointing to. You could just pick 3 bright stars and go from there. So that'll probably be what I'm using when I go ahead and do my speed run on this, because that will probably be the easiest method. One of the biggest reservations I had about this telescope when I was first unboxing it was that there isn't any easy way to manually point this telescope. You're completely reliant on using the hand controller to move it, and so there's no way for you to really just point and aim at something that you see in the sky. You're always tethered to the hand controller. But immediately upon turning on the on switch, it immediately activates the controls to move this up and down and left and right, and it's very intuitive. And so my concerns about being able to get this simply set up and observing right away are pretty much negated. You could take this out of the box, flip on the on switch, and point at something right away without aligning it, and be up and running in just a matter of seconds. So before it gets dark and we actually get to look through this telescope, what are some of my initial impressions of it? The 8-inch Schmidt-Cassegrain design from Celestron has been around since the 70s, and it is a time-tested model. I am absolutely certain that the views through this telescope will be very good. Setup of this was quick and easy. I like the single arm fork mount design, but I have some reservations. We'll see how stable it is. The tube legs of the tripod are also very well constructed and a nice design, but I'm also concerned with them at the fully extended length that I would need to comfortably be using this telescope. I doubt their stability a little bit, although it feels pretty good. It feels pretty good right now. The lack of any kind of dew control, whether it be a dew shield or any kind of heaters, that is going to be a night ender for you on a regular occasion. The 25mm Plössl that this came with, I think, is going to be an adequate eyepiece, although you may want to build out a wider field and a higher magnification eyepiece to use with this telescope. The fact that this red dot finder was totally dead on arrival is going to be a major issue, though. Especially for a beginner who is trying to point things in the sky for the first time. This is a critical piece of your setup, and having one that doesn't work at all is really disappointing. Celestron needs to step up their game on this one. You can see we're finally getting to dusk here, and I can finally see 3 stars. Arcturus, Spica, and Regulus are over there. So I'm going to go ahead and try and get this alignment. I've never done this before. I haven't gone through the menus at all. And so we're going to try and get this aligned. Once I get it aligned, I'm going to let it get a little bit darker, and we're going to try it on, I think there's a couple globular clusters up in this area that might be bright enough. M13 might be visible off to this direction, but I don't know if it's high enough in the sky yet. So we're going to go ahead and try this alignment, and afterwards we'll see how long this takes. But I'm going to walk through this real fast and see if we can go ahead and get this alignment done. Let's start by turning the telescope on. And the hand controller is setting up. It says press enter to begin alignment. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Select alignment method. I'm going to do Skyline. It's going to ask me for my time in hours, minutes, and seconds. So I'm going to check that real quick. It's 9:42 p.m. Daylight saving time here in Ohio. And today is June 7th, 2026. Skyline. Use the following screens to select 3 bright stars. Use the direction buttons to center object in the finder scope, which I won't be able to do because I don't have a finder scope. So I'm going to use this 25mm wide view eyepiece, wide-ish view eyepiece that they sent me. We're going to try and, we'll start with Arcturus because that's the brightest. Then we'll go to Spica, and then Regulus is kind of setting over here, so I'm going to get that one too. So that was a little tough to do without having any finder scope at all, but I was able to do it. I defocused it a little bit so that the bright star kind of smeared out and it was able to locate it a little bit easier that way. So you find it in the finder, hit enter, then you put it in the eyepiece, hit a line, and you're off to the races. The slew speed on this is actually pretty good, but it is a little noisy. Okay, that was Regulus, and that tip to defocus it a little bit so that it smears out the star was a huge help. Not having that finder scope has been a huge hindrance, but that tip to defocus it has been a game changer, lifesaver for this. So it was a little bit harder to get spike up, but I got it. And so it says, alignment failed. The positions of the alignment objects did not match the database. Now, all three of those stars should have been bright enough for this. They were some of the first three stars that I could see in the evening, so it should really have had no problem with that. I'm going to try and give this another shot. Now, it didn't ask me this before, and this might be the reason why. I don't know why I did this, but it's asking me for my location, which I thought it needed to do. I thought maybe there was a GPS in this. I didn't read it that much, but it's asking me for my city, my state now, and there's a city catalog. So I'm going to go ahead and put in Cleveland, Ohio, and try this again. So I was already on Spica. We're going to shoot over to Regulus. Again, that was easy. I'm getting the hang of it. Now we're going to do Arcturus last. Okay, let's see if it worked this time. Match confirmed. So let's see. Match is found. 1 Spica, 2 Regulus, 3 Arcturus. Now that is pretty cool. Location, date and time, and it knew exactly what I was looking for. That's a pretty simple system, and it's really nice that you don't have to know any of the names. On my more advanced iOptron that I have, you have to actually pick stars from a catalog, and it gives you most of the bright ones, but then it gives you a bunch of faint ones that no one has ever heard of before. And usually I'm scrolling to try and find the ones that I know through the list. So having this where you can just point it at some of the brightest stars in the sky and it'll pick them up, that's really slick. I really like it. The catch will be, let's see how accurate it is on finding anything. I'm going to check the alignment on this. So I'm pointing at Arcturus right now before it gets a little bit darker where we can try and pick off a deep sky object or two. Let's just see how accurate it is. I'm going to go back to Spica, which is right near Arcturus, and we'll see how good the go-to is on this with this skyline alignment. There it is. We'll hit enter. So it sounds like it's done. Let's see if we're close. I do not see it in there with this 25mm eyepiece. It's at least a little off, but again, this is a f10 telescope. 25mm eyepiece is not giving us that huge of a field of view. I'm going to jump around here with the arrow keys and see if it's at least reasonably close. So it wasn't too far off. It was just outside the field of view of this 25mm. And so a helpful tip here is to, if you're dealing with this issue where your go-tos aren't spot on, kind of recognize where the orientation is on where it's finding, and it'll help you point things out better. But this 25mm eyepiece here on Spica, it looks really nice. It's a nice bright, I'm colorblind, but it appears to be bluish color, so you guys can check me on that, but it looks blue. Taking the star just out of focus, it does look like this is slightly, just ever so barely out of collimation. That's an easy fix, especially considering that this has been shipped and traveled all over the place. The previous owners, I'm sure, they never used it, so this is probably exactly how it was right out of the factory. But collimation is good enough. It's not perfect, but good enough. While we have it on a bright object here, I'm going to go ahead and, you know what, this mount is actually pretty stable. When I'm focusing it, the time for the image to settle is really not all that long, maybe just a couple seconds. I've definitely seen way worse. So I would say, at least in my opinion, that this Nexstar mount is definitely adequate for this 8-inch telescope. Spica is really tack sharp there. I'm really impressed. It is a really nice image. It's really good. Let's see if we could find something interesting. So Messier 3 is a globular cluster, and it is in the general vicinity of Arcturus. So I'm going to go ahead and try for that. Again, Bortle 8.5, and it's still pretty bright out. Plus my neighbor has a really bright lamp in his backyard that kind of washes everything out. But I'm pointed away from that, so let's try and see if we can find M3. So we're back to our menu here. Let's go to Deep Sky Objects, Messier Catalog 003. And we have to remember this is going to be a little bit out of the frame, so it's going to go, and then I'm going to have to hunt a little bit. Well, there you go. Look at that. So that was not that hard. In just a matter of minutes, I was able to find Messier 3, which is a nice little globular cluster. It's kind of straight overhead. Now remember, I'm here, Bortle 8.5 skies. There's a shopping mall in that direction, just about 1 mile. There's a huge Walmart and everything that you could imagine over there. And it's summertime. It's just about 10 o'clock. I could still see the sun glow off to that direction. And so the fact that I'm able to sit out here with this telescope and pick off M3 like that very quickly. Now granted, these go-tos were not spot on. I bet if I had been able to had that finder scope and was quicker in getting my alignments and didn't have to jump around so much, that my errors would probably be a little bit better. But overall, I'm really impressed with this. It picked that up really fast, and it was pretty close. So I haven't looked in the eyepiece in a few seconds here. So let's take a look and see how the tracking is, if it's still centered after about a minute of talking to you. And yeah, sure enough, it is dead center still. So let me describe to you what I'm seeing a little bit here. And so from these light polluted skies, I could definitely, the globular cluster, definitely, I had no problem seeing it. And this is a 25 millimeter eyepiece. And so it's, but the globular cluster is quite bright. I don't have much magnification on it, and so I can't really see or discern the individual stars in it. But you could see, and it is bright as can be. It stuck out very quickly and easy. I had no problem spotting it whatsoever. And I imagine if I had I'm trying to just stick with the equipment that this came with. And so I'd imagine if I had maybe a little bit more power, I could probably get some more detail out of it. But the core of that globular cluster, really, it sticks out no problem. And I mean, again, this is I would consider these are urban skies, and I'm here at dusk observing Messier objects. So light pollution, it ruins a lot, but it doesn't mean that you can't see anything. There are a lot of things that you could still see from the city. So don't get too discouraged about that. Let's see if we can find something else. M5 is another globular cluster in that area. So let's see if we can tease that one out too. And globular clusters are going to be, in this case, in these highly light polluted conditions, some of these globular clusters are going to be easier to see because they're just kind of brighter in general. And so these are going to be some of the easier objects to see. Trying galaxies out here in this is going to be probably a waste of time. Seems like this thing has stopped. Let's go see if we can find M5. Yeah, there we go. No problem at all. That was another real quick one. So the go-tos on here certainly weren't perfect. I marked that up to my alignment, but M5, I was very close to where this was. I think if I had maybe a 32 millimeter eyepiece, it would have probably been right in the frame. This one is a little bit more diffuse and spread out. And looking at it, I still, at this magnification, can't discern any individual stars, but it's very clearly a globular cluster. Like, I have no doubts in my mind that's what I'm looking at. Using averted vision, I can definitely start making out some individual stars there. So M13 might just be visible over a tree. So I'm gonna try that. That'll be my last one here. That should be no problem from this location at all. I'm having a good time. And there we go. Oh, wow, that is spectacular. M13, mind you, I'm going to remind you this 10 times. Bortle 8.5 skies. Major commercial development right around the corner from here. And I got my neighbor's bright light shining in my eyes, and it's still not even totally dark. And I'm getting M13 here as bright as can be. And this one, you don't even need averted vision for this, because it is stunning. It is like jewels scattered across the sky, and you can see very clearly the individual stars of this. This is really this object is always so spectacular. It's really one that, it's something that we show at public star parties a lot, but I'm always blown away by it. As many times as I've seen it, countless times, it always is so exciting. It is just so bright, and resolving the individual stars on it is really cool. And the fact that I can get it from my backyard in a terribly light polluted zone makes it that much more exciting. I'm just really enjoying that view. It's just really, really excellent. So what's my final in the dark assessment of the Celestron Nexstar 8SE? I love it. Really cool telescope. Very quick setup time. That skyline process was rock solid, at least this go around. I'd imagine it would be even better if I had the working finder scope and was quicker to get my alignments done, because that would probably decrease the error that I had. And so the go-tos would be a little bit better. But I would say for this, it is successful as it is. It was very usable with the way it was. The 25mm Plossl that it came with is good for finding things. You'll definitely want something more out of it, but the telescope is really good. Totally surprised at how stable this mount is. It does a great job, and overall I'd be really pleased with this. Whoever ends up with this telescope in our raffle is going to be really pleased with it, because it is outstanding. It really beat my expectations on it. Really like this telescope. So if you like watching this kind of content, subscribe to my channel, Night Sky Voyager. If you want to go behind the scenes or get early releases, I've got a Patreon, and I appreciate all of my channel members who subscribe and support this channel monetarily. It really helps to keep things going here, and thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed my review and first impressions of the Celestron Nexstar 8SE, a killer beginner's telescope. Really, I wouldn't have any issues recommending this to anybody, at least in this short-term review. So this is Trevor from Night Sky Voyager, wishing you clear skies. I'm gonna get some more M13 before I go to bed.